Ichigo awakens by Talach, Chapter 37, Boiling Point. Boiling Point, Karakura Town. The next morning came and the search for the Senju and the Ryudu clan started again. Ishin left for Soul Society to help plan with the other captains, while his seated squad members took over the search. Ichigo and Senna went back to the train station, being the first located site of the blanks en masse. The place became crowded with most of the people walking around almost aimlessly. "I'm bored," Senna whined. "How much longer are we going to stay here?" They were waiting for 15 minutes. And this is where those blanks first showed up, remember? Ichigo stated, scanning the group of people. "It's not usually this crowded around this time. What's happening?" He wondered as he watched the blank expressions of the people as they walked by. "Anyway, you stay close to me, which would work better if you stopped running off on your own," he said, turning to find her already gone. "Why am I not surprised?" he said before following her trail of spirit threads. "Did you forget that you were attacked last night?" Ichigo asked, stopping when he saw Senna talking to a soul of a crying child, trying to comfort him. "He says his name is Tamayo," Senna explained when she noticed Ichigo. "Said his father and him were going to a festival in the car. He took a nap, and when he woke up, he was all alone." He explained the story the crying boy just conveyed to her. "He's probably in heaven by now," Ichigo said to the kid. "No, he's not," Tamayo argued. "He's out there looking for me right now. I know he is." "Then how about Ichigo and I help you look for him?" Senna suggested. We'll all find him together." Ichigo groaned at getting stuck babysitting two children now. They started off towards where Tamayo said his father would be waiting. "Senna," Ichigo called to the girl, "aren't we in the middle of something?" he said, trying to remind her about the attack and the blanks. "Don't we also have no leads?" she countered, shutting the hybrid up. "Besides, Soul Reapers are supposed to help, aren't we?" she said with a smile before continuing to follow the young boy. "She's not wrong," he muttered before joining the two as they proceeded on the long walk to whatever the festival was supposed to be. They spent a couple of hours searching the city, the Senna's infectious energy and cheer pushing him to a shrine at the top of a hill. "Why are you trying so hard?" Ichigo finally asked Senna when they saw the paper lanterns. "You had no guarantee that there was a festival or that his dad would still be around." "It's going to be a long journey for that kid," Sienna replied instantly, giving a melancholic smile. "This is his last wish before that trip, so I'd like to see him off with a smile. I can't bear to perform a console on a scared little kid like that," she said in a surprising moment of maturity. They entered the shrine, and Senna helped Tomoyo look for his father, while Ichigo watched the crowd of people aimlessly wandering about. "This isn't right," he thought to himself as the kid's father found them, getting into a tearful reunion. "They seem like they're talking, but I can't hear anything. It's almost as if they're..." No, he heard the father and child say their final piece. "I guess you were so wrapped up in helping Tomoyo that you didn't even notice," the father said with a smile. "All the souls that are guarded here, I was able to find this place thanks to them." Ichigo's eyes widened. "These people are souls," he continued to think, coming close to an answer that he didn't want. "They don't have soul chains. They seem to be moving about aimlessly. What if we couldn't find any blanks because they didn't look like blanks?" He thought back to the shopping plaza and how it seemed to clear out while he and Senna was on the Ferris wheel. The train station that was crowded during at an odd time that day, and now here. What if they were all blanks? That would mean that Sienna had the Shinenju, or worse, is the Shinenju. He asked Yamamoto a while ago about his time alive. To the ancient captain's knowledge, no Shinenju would remember their time alive. The process of reincarnation washed away past memories by the time they fully became Shinigami. "Don't you understand?" Tomoyo said as father and son began glowing, signaling their passing to the next life. They're here because of you. I'm surprised you didn't know. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't be here," the boy explained as the two expressed their thanks one last time. Ichigo cursed as his suspicions were confirmed, his hand going for his Shinigami badge. "Why me?" he heard Senna asked in a shaking voice, scared at the idea of whatever was going on. "Why are they all attracted to me?" Ichigo turned to her as she looked at him with frightened eyes. "Ichigo, I think I must be. Is it true?" Ichigo put away his badge before pulling the scared girl into a hug. "Senna," he said, rubbing her back soothingly. "Your memories, are they?" he attempted to ask before a Senkimon opened up. Through it came a Soifone with a few of her patrol force, like Urahara and Nemu in tow, Renji, Rukia, and Utikata. What's the news? He asked, almost knowing what was happening. Renji stepped forward and delivered the report. We're acting on a level 1 order from the Captain Commander. Ichigo, you are relieved from active duty of protecting the Shinenju and are now to find and stop the Ryoto clan from whatever it is that they're planning. Now hand over the girl, he said sternly, almost threateningly in his tone, like he wasn't happy about it himself. Nemu stepped forward to deliver her report. After an extensive scan of the Gotai 15 Kido Corps on Mitsukido, as well as Shino Academy, a total of 10 times, there has never been no mention of any Shinigami named Senna or matching this girl's description. The artificial life explained robotically. The Sanpakto Mirakumaru was the registered Sanpakto of a soul reaper from a century ago that was sucked away by the restrictive current within the Dangai. Over a century ago, all evidence points to the Shinigami Siena being the Shinenju. Senna gasped in shock and tried to protest their claims. They can't be. What you're saying isn't true, she said, almost like she was trying to convince herself more than anything. I am a Soul Reaper. I just know I am. Suddenly, Urahara was in front of her, his hand on her shoulder, and making her flinch. Tell me, he said in his most gentle tones, what do you remember about your life? When did you come to the world of the living? She looked up at him hesitantly as he smiled down. It's okay. We won't hurt you. She took a breath to settle herself as she talked about what she did recall. I remember walking by the banks of that river 2 days ago. I know my name is Senna, she said confidently, a confidence that waned as she talked. When I was a little girl, she grasped her head almost as if remembering hurt. Then I was alone. It's all right, breathed Senna, Urahara advised calmly. Ichigo, this girl is in fact the Shinenju, and she is in grave danger, he explained to his favorite student. Ganryu is using the blanks to draw the two worlds together, to collide and mutually destroy each other. If he gets his hands on her, and then he'll be able to accelerate his plans threefold. We need to get her to safety as soon as possible, he said, knowing Ichigo's usual thought process. But what gives you the right to? She attempted to ask before the captain cut her off again. Yes, right now, she has thoughts and feelings, Urahara acknowledged before continuing with the practical argument, all of which don't matter in the slightest. If Ganryu gets his hands on her, she's the cornerstone to his plans to destroy the two worlds. So understand, if we don't give her a choice in this matter either, it's either treat her as a person or risk losing her to the enemy. Ichigo was conflicted. He understood the gravity of the situation, but he couldn't stand the thought of Senna being locked away. No matter the reasoning, it was then he remembered some crucial details. They were surrounded by blanks, and the current enemies can appear out of thin air. Move! He yelled, expelling his soul as the Ryodi clan members came falling out of the sky, and the people around them turned into the white forms of the blanks. Ah, damn it! He cursed, pulling out his blade. One of the fallen opponents leaped away from each other, and Khan stayed near Senna, taking the protective role while his master prepared to fight. The first to come after him was Guy. Didn't learn from last time, did ya? A minor setback, Guy said with a grin as blanks flew towards his missing limb, slowly reforming it to its previous state. You won't beat me so, he said before Ichigo blew up both of his arms with the same technique as last time. Not impressed. I can do the regrow limbs thing too, Ichigo said as the man glared at him. Difference is, I'm better at it. He then kicked his Jai across the face and threw a couple of trees. He saw the other Soul Reapers fighting off either of the blanks or the exiled clan members. The strange weapons of the green-clad enemy kept the Soul Reapers surprised and distracted. Not dealing with this crap. Limit 1, release! Ichigo called out, breaking the first seal of his power. Everyone felt the increase in his strength as swarms of blanks tried to attack him, only to be swept away with a single swing of his blade. Unfortunately, a good number of them went after Senna as well. Khan was able to fend them off easily with his enhanced reflexes and implanted martial arts skills, letting him dance through the strike down every blank with ease, but got separated from Senna as well, who was going after the white-haired leader of the entire assault. I am a Soul Reaper, she cried out in her mind. I'll prove it. she thought as she exited her body and jumped to attack. The man stood watching over the entire attack. Bring them to the twilight, she called out, following Ichigo's advice and not holding back. Mirakumaru! She charged valiantly just as Ganryu turned and slammed his fist into her gut. Thank you for coming to me, he said with a cocky smile, looking at her like a thing rather than a person. It saves me the trouble of dealing with these Soul Reapers. The fallen clan of Ryodija, Ukitake growled, glaring at the man that sought nothing but destruction. I know nothing of that, he spoke, looking down on the simple Shinigami that were still fighting thousands of blanks. We are from the clan of darkness, the Dark Ones. That name is stupid, Ichigo said, peering behind them. Now drop Senna, he growled, flaring his Reiatsu. Just then, hundreds of blanks flew at Ichigo and covered him in explosions. The ones on the ground began to follow suit. Just as they were being attacked, a rain of light arrows and balls of fire struck down on the Reapers, struck them down just as much as they exploded. A giant orange shield carrying the Soul Reapers to safety. That tickled, Ichigo said, swinging away the cloud of smoke that surrounded him. The Dark Ones began to charge at Ichigo, who bypassed them all and appeared in front of Ganryu. Reishi surrounded his blade as he prepared to destroy the man responsible for the attack until he hesitated. Memories of killing Ginjo and Tsukishima flashed in his head yet again. How easy it was, how little was left. What would happen to his friends? The second he saw Senna's scared face made him pause, and the Dark Ones took that chance, running him through with every blade in their disposal. Ichigo! Senna cried out, just as she and Ganryu faded into the darkness and out of his reach. Ichigo watched as she was taken, roaring in anger as he slashed in a full circle, seriously injuring each Dark One within reach of Sanketsu as they fled. Seconds later, Ichigo was fully healed and furious. They took Senna because he was still dealing with his trauma. The living world and Soul Society are at risk, and he failed to stop it. He was not looking forward to the lecture from Genrayasu. Society Captain's meeting. Completely unacceptable, Yamamoto yelled at the young hybrid, every captain flanking down both sides, ending with Tessai standing opposite to the ancient commander. Barely an hour passed after Senna was taken. You had the chance right in front of you, and you hesitated. If you had swung your blade, you could have ended this whole mess with right then and there. The Shenju, her name is Senna, Ichigo grumbled, angry at the disregard for the girl's right as a person. That doesn't matter, he roared at the boy, trying to convey the gravity of the matter. The Dark Ones have her and can now accelerate their plans to destroy everything. Captain Commander, he's still just the boy, Ishin spoke out in defense of his son, to which Toshiro coughed loudly. He's 15. He's still not ready to kill as easily as the rest of us. Sentimentality will get you killed on the battlefield, Ishin, Urahara responded. In this case, Ichigo failed his mission and put so much more at risk because of it. Now drastic measures must be taken, Yamamoto said warily. Urahara, what is the situation? He said, consulting one of his smartest officers. Urahara straightened out and delivered his report. The original rate of expansion would have the Valley of Streams reach its critical point within 6 hours, he said, bringing up a three-dimensional map of the valley. However, with the Shinenju and proper placement, that rate increased to give us almost 2 hours. If left alone, the coalition between society and the living world would see the destruction of one, if not both worlds. The news left a heavy tone among everyone in the room. Commander Tsubashi and Tessai straightened out as the head captain called out him. Prepare the Kido cannon. Everyone in the room was split between agreeing and disagreeing with the plan. Ichigo clenched his fist in anger at him, the Dark Ones, and his sensei for making this call. Lieutenant Kurosaki, Yamamoto said, making the hybrid look his age teacher in the eyes. Make no mistake that your hesitation has forced my hand. However, I will not stop you from going to the Valley of Streams, if you wish, he said, surprising everyone in attendance. You will be by yourself. No member of the Gotai will join you. If you are still in there by the time we must fire the cannon, it will still be shot. Do I make myself clear? He said as Ichigo took in his teacher's words. Save her if you wish, but don't expect this to stop. Ichigo knew what he was going to do. To you all, she's the Shinenju, Ichigo said, still in his resolve. To me, she's a member of Squad 15. I will protect my squad members. He flicked his hand in the air, opening a cleanly made garganta, and charged through it. Master, Are you sure about this? Utakata cried out in concern. Ichigo is still just a child. Yamamoto merely smiled. Yushiro, is your faith in your junior disciple truly too weak? He asked, confusing the sickly man. Ichigo's too stubborn to let one loss stop him, Urahara said, sharing the old man's confidence. Once he set his mind on something, he'll do it no matter what barrier stands in his way. Really, it's a question of which is more merciful, Ichigo or that cannon, Ishin continued. Still, now's a good time to test our latest project, Urahara said cheerfully. May we? Yamamoto nodded. They are not members of the Gotai, after all. Karakura Town. Ichigo stood on the bridge, looking down on the entrance of the Valley of Screams. Chat's patrol found it yesterday during their patrols, but thought nothing of it at the time. Now Ichigo had his mission, and his destination. This time, he would save Senna. Are you sure about this, sir? One of the squad members asked Uryu, letting the lieutenant go in alone. Ichigo tilted forward and fell into the shining portal. Limits 1 and 2 release. A crushing pressure appeared and faded in an instant as Ichigo crossed dimensions. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers. Ruruka's eyes. And now time to remove the bandages, Urahara said as they began to unwrap the gauze from around the Fullbringer's head. After a week for her new eyes to settle in, they decided to witness the end result. Ichigo and the other Fullbringers were in attendance for the grand unveiling in the hospital room. After a tense few seconds, they finally got the wrappings off and let Ruruka slowly open her eyes. Everyone took in the sight of Ruruka's electrified pink iris as they handed her a mirror. You actually did it, she stuttered, taking in her new eyes in confused elation. Not sure if it's what she really wanted. I like it, Ichigo stated. Matches your hair. She looked at the hybrid and got her first real look at him. What a hottie, she screamed in her head while everyone gasped. Well, what failed? Urahara said. You specifically said hearts. These are stars. He put the mirror in front of her, only to see star-shaped pupils before returning to normal. Now all she felt was dread. Oh well, time to try again, he said, picking up a scalpel. Keep him away from me. Yoshida's memories. Uryu came home after a night of patrolling Karakura, dealing with a weak hollows, helping instruct new recruits. It was just a rough week for him. He came home to a dark house and his parents asleep on the couch with the lights from the television illuminating them. His father laying on his back with his mother snuggling up to him, finding warmth in her husband. Uryu smiled, happy to actually see this image when he and his father struggled for so long in training. He walked over and pulled the blanket over the two, wishing them good night. Then he saw that what they were watching, his parents in bed, disheveled and bare. So what should we name her? His mother asked on screen, patting her stomach. Decided on a girl, huh? His father responded, hugging her close. Uryu turned off the TV and pulled out the tape. It was labeled Honeymoon. Must destroy, he growled. Must bleach brain. End of chapter 37. Ichigo awakens by Talach. Chapter 38. The end of the Valley of Screams. Valley of Screams. Where am I? Senna thought to herself as she came to. She found herself in a canyon lined with crevices on both rock faces that extended for miles. She was strapped to a pole with red cloth ring binding her to it. Several floating purple orbs were orbiting around her and the poles. She heard movement ahead and saw the dark ones heading for her. So what? I just hang here and wait while you mope about losing. Wait for your stupid plan to ultimately fail, she said defiantly against the guys that held her prisoner. How dare you speak to Lord Ganryu in such a manner? The man with the rocket pack growled at her, stopping when his master raised his hand. Relax, Rihan. I've long since abandoned the need for formalities, he told his loyal second-in-command. And your bravado is charming, but futile. With you here, our plan will succeed, and our vengeance against the unjust laws of Soul Society will... No one cares, Sienna interrupted, showing more disrespect for her captors. What good is your plan going to do? You want to destroy the living world and Society? To what end? How do you ultimately benefit from this? It doesn't matter because you're going to be stopped. She took on a condescending and confident smirk. My lieutenant will stop you. What makes you think Soul Society will send anyone out to save someone who doesn't exist? Ganryu demanded. In case you haven't noticed, Your lieutenant wasn't much of a threat to us, he boasted while snapping his fingers and beginning the ritual, making the blanks and their enemies swarm around her. Soon she was wrapped in cloth made of reishi that coalesced around her and reformed into a strange altar. The defiance in Senna's eyes never faded once. Because he said so himself, she said with a smirk. He never abandoned his allies. When she said that, a crushing pressure made itself known to everyone in attendance. That's probably him, she spoke, hiding her relief with casual calm. Rijan, Benin, he called to his artillery and crossbow sniper. Get out there and prepare the attack. Jai, Mui, Bai, Bai. The dark-skinned, slender, and giant man stiffened at his call. Defend the Shinenju at all costs. This close to victory, he refused to fail until a single phrase froze the very blood in his veins. Too slow. They all heard as Ichigo was already in between them and Senna. Jai let anger override his reason as he immediately charged at the hybrid. Ichigo raised a hand up. Ikotsu, he whispered before throwing his fist forward. Jai's bones turned to dust before flying off from the force of the blow and crashing through the layer of rock. The event took place instantaneously. Looks like I still need work. He's still in one piece, Ichigo said, giving himself to his more violent nature. He looked over the Dark Ones with cold black and glowing yellow eyes. For your crimes and then threat to life, you're all to die. The Dark Ones gaped at the strength and ferocity locked away behind those eyes. The club-wielding Bayu charged at him with the intent to crush him with his mighty clubs. An effort of futility, Ichigo caught the club and weathered its shockwave before thrusting his palm into the man's gut. Hado 33, Sokutsuki, he said, unleashing the punishing pale fire at point-blank range and turning the man into ash. Monster! Mui gasped as two of his allies were struck down easily. Ichigo was in front of him in a heartbeat, his blade twirling with reishi as he brought it down. Getsuga Tencho! He whispered as he killed another of the Dark Ones. He looked up to see Senna and Ganryu, looking at him in fear as he hesitated his process. Senna was wrapped in a weird, viscous matter that was calcifying into a strange tree. Ganryu suddenly smirked as Rian and Benin shot down at him. A barrage of missiles and bolts coming down on him. Just as soon as they were fired, they were destroyed by two unlikely allies, showing up to aid the hybrid. I thought I wasn't getting back up, he stated as the four ringers turned to him. The captain commander said that was about the go tie, Ginjo said, hefting his claymore on his shoulder. We're still not members. Besides, we had time to kill, Tsukishima responded. Let's just have some fun and you do your mission, Kurosaki. Ichigo nodded his acknowledgement as she shot towards Ganryu. Ryudan was firing more missiles at Ichigo, only for Ginjo to interrupt them and wipe them out with an energy blade. Think we'll get in trouble for this? The more laid back of the two asked. I was always more for giving orders than following them, Ginjo responded. Besides, we already got what we came for. The two looked up at their chosen opponents. What's the harm in having a little fun? He asked before they charged at Dark Ones. Tsukishima versus Benin. The purple-haired Dark One blocked the white katana of Tsukishima before pushing off from the blade. She threw a few daggers before firing another bolt at him. Tsukishima swerved around the attack as he flew towards his opponent, disappearing from her view. He reappeared right in front of her and slashed her from shoulder to hip, his blade leaving a shallow cut as it phased through her body. He jumped back as she hesitated. As she hesitantly felt her wound. I'm hurt that you've forgotten about me so soon, Benin, Tsukishima said, addressing the Dark One as an old friend while his Fullbringer took effect. I said I would check the situation personally, but Lord Ganju just didn't feel like waiting, did he? He knew her entire life after that cut. All of her memories were his knowledge, free for him to manipulate at his leisure. Yeah, she said hesitantly, unsure of her own memories before fully falling victim to his power. Yeah, sorry, we had a window of opportunity and we took it. We didn't have long to take advantage of it. It's all right, but answer me one more question, he said, trying to gather more information. Why did you all listen and trust Aizen, Ginjo, and Rian? Ryan kept up his barrage of missiles striking towards the Fullbringers, desperately trying to end him so he could try to stall the Soul Reapers from undoing their plans. Ginjo proved too fast and he had a good counter to his missiles. It was either he dodged them in time or he destroyed them in a single swing of his energy cloaked blade. But unlike his opponent, Ryan had the limitless supply of blanks to power his attacks. He sent out the next barrage, while a few strafed around in the confusion to get him from behind. Ginjo swung his blade and was enveloped in the explosion. Finally! Got him! He cheered before feeling himself get impaled from behind. He looked over his shoulder to see a lightly singed and ruffled Ginjo with his blade shoved through the Ryan's chest. That was honestly annoying, Ginjo said, looking down at the dark one as he desperately tried to summon blanks to heal himself. But I doubt you have anything useful to tell me. Ginjo flared his power, making his energy blade incinerate Ryan. So goodbye, he yelled before destroying the missile-shooting midget. And meanwhile, you weren't playing with your enemy's head again, weren't you? He asked, looking to his side to find Tsukishima with his ever-present and cold smile. We already got what we wanted from the guy Ichigo punched, so why bother? I got her memories, but I wanted to know their feelings, Tsukishima explained. Their thirst for vengeance had long since consumed them. Easy for Aizen to use to his benefit. Just then, a massive torrent of black energy suddenly appeared and tore a hole in the dimensional space. That wasn't necessary and probably dangerous. The world began to shake as the tear grew. Oh crap! Run! Ginjo yelled as they departed, leaving the rest to the hybrid. With Ichigo, Ganryu threw all of his abilities to the hybrid, all to stop him from crushing his mission of vengeance. Swarms of blanks and the calcifying smile that created his false tree they were within. Thousands of daggers, none of which even slowed the hybrid down. Ganryu watched in fear of the boy, the monster that Soul Society sent to kill him. He slashed through all the blanks with simple swings, let his Reiatsu tear through the gooey slime, and deflected the blades with his bare skin. No! He yelled, appearing in front of Ichigo, refusing to hide in the shadows any longer. My clan was unjustly banished by the Society. I will have my... Just shut up! Ichigo said with such intimidation that Ganryu froze. I don't give a damn about your clan's history, and you deserve no sympathy, he said as he cut one of his fingers. There is nothing to justify your actions to anyone. He raised his fingers up to Ganryu and charged a zero, mixing it with his blood. But I'm doing this to get my squad member back. Grande zero. He unleashed the dark torrent of power as it destroyed everything in its wake. The last of the Dark Ones died instantaneously, frozen in the presence of a truly dark beast. Oops, that was probably a bad idea. Ichigo winced at the tears that began to form all around him. The sky bleeding the restrictive current of the Pacific world. Gotta find Sienna, fast. Limit restore, he said, sealing his power back up and releasing a Pesquita. Found you, he said, flying down to the heart of the tree and trying to open the path to Senna. Having trouble, rookie? Ichigo asked with a smile. Good to see you too, LT, she said with a smile as she recalled the feelings and memories of the blanks, as well as her own happy memories. She was unsure of her past, but she knew that her memories with Ichigo were entirely her own. Soul Society, said Tate. We have reports. Lieutenant Kurosaki has recovered the Shinenju and caused devastating damage to the Valley of Souls. One of the communications officers relayed to Yamamoto and the gathered captains. The old dragon smiled as he watched his student emerge from the dimension with Senna in his arms. He succeeded in his mission in less than half at the time he gave them. He succeeded his mission in less than half the time he was given. That boy's really something, Kyorakum said while Urikata was gaping in shock. Took care of the Dark Ones and began the process of destroying that dimension. He looked down to see Ishin boasting about his son, leading the cheer among the rest of the Gotai in attendance. Definitely a future captain commander. In time, maybe, Yamamoto conceded. He's still young and driven by his emotions before duty, but he'll grow and he'll learn. The leader must learn to listen to their heart as much as their head. Something I remembered just recently, he said, sharing a moment with his student. Yes, I found Commander in time. but that punch was too sloppy. Back to the punching board for you, boy, he thought just before alarms began to going off. Warning, several Ryotsu signatures are being detected, coming from the Valley of Screams, the man yelled, surprising everyone as the images changed to look into the dimensional pocket. It was then that Yamamoto got the final confirmation of the Van der Rijk's return. An entire battalion bearing your watch's banner, World of the Living. Hey Senna, we made it! Ichigo and Senna burst free from the dimensional pocket, greeted by his entire squad, cheering at his victory and the smiling faces of his friends, and Ginjo and Tsukishima. What the heck are you two doing there anyway? He asked the Fullbringers as they joined their squad on the bridge. The two former enemies smiled at the hybrid with the same smugness they once had. Senna went to talk to Ichigo's other friends. Serving probation, Ginjo explained, pointing at the seal on his neck. Considering what we did, or almost attempted, we are currently on probation. We do anything out of line, we're dead. So for now, we do the field intel gathering, Tsukishima said, holding up his bookmark. My Fullbring, Book of the End, can cut through anything, or lets me control someone's memories after I cut them. As a bonus, I get a comprehensible knowledge of those I cut. It was suspected the Dark Ones were influenced by Aizen, and we were sent to find out. Thanks for punching that one guy, Ginjo said. Made the job short. So what did you find out? Ichigo asked. Aizen met with Ganryu and the Dark Ones, Tsukishima relayed. He told them that he sympathized with their plight and the injustice of Soul Society that now was the best chance had to strike. They were so desperate to get their vengeance, they were ready to throw their lives away for this insane plan. That's all I got from them. Ichigo pondered on the information. What was Aizen's goal in doing this? Testing out their strength and current defenses? These thoughts were cut short when Uryu cried out, Ichigo, behind you! He said, making Ichigo turn as several tendrils pierced through his major joints and wrapped around him. He saw a figure with a white helmet, a white cloak, covering its body and in single glowing eye. The thing suddenly began to retract its limbs, pulling Ichigo towards it and back into the collapsing dimension. A target locked, recovering Ichigo Kurosaki. It spoke robotically. Get over here! It yelled as Ichigo began to struggle against it. Chad was quick to respond, transforming his arms and firing a blast at the unidentified Quincy. It swerved to dodge, and Chad grabbed onto the tentacles that were pulling Ichigo into the rift. Don't just stand there! Uryu yelled as Tatsuki began raining down fire on the strange bot while Orihime deployed her shield at the same time. The thing pulled out a large minigun. Help you, Lieutenant! Uryu pulled out his Quincy bow and began firing thousands of glowing blue arms. The rest of the squad sprung into action, either pulling Ichigo back or firing Kido spells at the Quincy bot. It so far had proven too fast and too durable to let go of the hybrid, who was trying to make sure his limbs didn't tear off. He could grow them back, but it still hurt, and he didn't want to risk it with any members of the Van der Rijk. Ginjo and Tsukishima tried attacking it from behind, but it reacted so fast that it managed to shoot holes in their chest, forcing them to retreat and Orihime to multitask. Guys, Ginjo coughed out with some blood. He's not alone. More are coming. He took a quick glance back into the Valley of Screams and saw more white-clad figures coming into the dimensional portal. They were having trouble with this one thing. How could they fight off more? Senna looked at the portal and remembered that she was the only one that could close it, but at a cost. Cover me, she called out, getting overhead and in the center of the portal. Uryu jumped next to her and saw a battalion of Quincy soldats coming towards them, getting their bows ready. Uryu responded in kind and began shooting at every arrow they fired. Senna! Ichigo growled out, pulling against his binds while his squad either fired Kido spells, pulled with Chad, or tried to hack away the mechanical tentacles. What are you doing? She began to glow as the world seemed to change. I'm closing the portal, she said, calming, almost resigned. Returning the memories of the blanks. What? He asked, disbelieving that she was doing what he thought she was doing. Limit 1, release, he called out, breaking his first seal again. Senna, stop this! You can't! Yes, I can! She yelled out. You said it yourself! Squad 15 looks after its own! She looked at him with sad eyes. You've done so much for me. It's time I return the favor. A whirlwind enveloped her as she flashed him one last bright smile. It's the least I can do. Senna, no! He roared, jumping towards the robot that was pulling him. Ikotsu! He roared as he punched the android, breaking a hole through it and shattering his hand in the process. But he was freed from his binds. He returned and pushed himself towards Senna just as the wind exploded. Senna! He cried out as light enveloped the world. Ichigo, can you do me one last favor? He heard a voice through the haze of light. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers. BG9's attack. You think everything will be fine? Basby asked his fellow directors as they came into the world of living. He's just supposed to hint at the Vanderdyke's actions. He'll be fine. Babietta dismissed simply. He wouldn't do anything to jeopardize the mission, she said just as they saw Ichigo and his squad struggling with the android in question. Or he could screw it up. He follows orders to the letter, Basby yelled out. What the hell? Just then radio static came from Bambita's person. E, I have captured Ichigo and am now returning him for your personal pleasure as instructed. The message from the android cut as both Basby and Candice turned to glare at the blushing brunette. You slut! Candice was about to say when the exact same message played, but for her. The threat to T, I have captured Ichigo and am now returning him for your personal pleasure as instructed. Now she was gasping in surprise and blushed mad. Can I have a go before you try to kill him? Candice asked. How dare you? Bambita demanded. Killing a stud like him would be criminal. Let's take turns, she said, getting her fellow's agreement. Basby just hung his head in defeat. Why did it have to be you two? He asked, just before the bridge exploded. End of chapter 38.